Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is Saturday, June 3rd. It has been a crazy day here in Hudson, Florida. Since this morning, I've been running this morning. I had to take a generator down about 10 miles south, and we have had waves of torrential downpours. So my day is in between different things, so it's been taking a little longer. But hey, I wanted to do this video. We've had a few conversations, probably, I don't even know, I mean, we always have them, but over the last couple weeks, and the Lord's led me into a couple scriptures lately for some other future events that I guess that he wants me to speak about and stuff. But hey, I wanted to talk about fig leaves to cover our shame and guilt. It started in the garden. Adam and Eve were given one rule to follow. That one rule was to not eat of the tree of good and evil. I had a conversation, or I did a post the other day about it being made in the image of God. That just simply refers to knowing both good and evil, knowing good and evil. And, I imagine the physical image too, where Christ became one of us. I mean, that has something to do with it too. But immediately when they took of the fruit, they became aware of, it says they became aware of their nakedness. And, if any of you guys have ever had those nightmares or dreams or nightmares where you're standing up talking in front of somebody or in front of a group or whatever, and you end up naked, you're like, oh, and you have this anxiety and this shame. I believe that's like a little bit of kind of what they felt, but not really. I can't imagine walking daily with the presence of God, like literally hanging out with God, breaking a rule, and then that conscience hits, right? I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you do, because whether you're a believer or not, we have a conscience. And we're born with a conscience of knowing good and bad, man. Like the first time, I think, back in the day, first time I drank, as a kid, little kid, stealing a beer, like as a little kid at probably one of my birthday parties in the summertime. I knew it was wrong. I was like, yeah, but sin feels good, right? Sin would not be an issue if the consequences were immediate, or it wasn't gratifying, or didn't appeal to our flesh. And but I knew it was wrong. And then as I progressed and did things even more wrong, like breaking into places or whatever, man, I knew that I knew when I left. It's like, man, I don't know, man, probably shouldn't have did that, just that conscience. But what happens is, we continue to sear that conscience, but what happens is the enemy likes to heap on shame and guilt. And then what happened with Adam and Eve, they went and they found some fig leaves, right? Covered up their shameful parts, I guess. I don't know. They could have made ghillie suits, covered their whole bodies, but I'm imagining, they covered up the places that made them feel the shame and guilt. The major problem with fig leaves is, and you guys know this, like this plant behind me, if I take them leaves off and throw it down here, they're going to eventually dry up, shrivel up, dry up, fall off, or just, not cover me anymore. God spoke to them, came to them in the garden. The story doesn't, well, it does matter. He says, where are you, Adam? And Adam over here, he's hiding. He says, why are you hiding? And he said, because he was naked. And God said, who told you were naked? You took of that tree, didn't you? God already knew that. God knew that before he even created Adam and Eve. But anyhow, so God had a plan of redemption. God had to sacrifice, had to kill an animal and cover them with skin. So there had to be bloodshed. That's why, listen, I mean, we don't do that anymore. We don't sacrifice animals, but that's why the only solid answer to forgiveness, the only thing is the blood of Christ, and understanding faith, like a change in your heart, understanding that everybody is a sinner. And that doesn't give us like, oh, you're a sinner, I'm a sinner. No, first we recognize our own. And I think, to be honest, a lot of people know they need to be told they're sinners. I think people know. But they do need to be told. I mean, sometimes you need to be reminded, because if you sear your conscience, you don't really get it. But fig leaves come in all kinds of designs or things or whatever. The most dangerous fig leaf that you can use is religion. Going to church. That was Jesus's issue with the Pharisees. At one point, I had a joking post earlier. It says, your pappy's office was to be a room of prayer, but you have turned it into a den of kittens. Well, Jesus said that his Father's house, that temple, was to be a house of prayer for all nations. But the Pharisees and the people in there who were operating scandalously and illegal were doing it in the church because then it appeared to be good. They were hiding their stuff, and he was a robber. It says a robber's den, which really comes out to cave, robber's cave, and nobody ever robs a cave. They hide in a cave. So what Jesus was saying is, you're using church, you're using this religion to hide your wickedness. So that's the worst. And the reason that's the worst kind of fig leaf, because eventually you're convinced that you're all right. And many people roll in and out of church every day to hide things, hide their past, hide their present, hide their sin, hide their shame, but never deal with it. You got to deal with it. We got to go right at the root. We got to address it. We got to own it, right? You own up to the stuff. And then we really, really have to apply the finished work of Christ on the cross there, the blood. He shed his blood. No more sacrifices were needed after that. Actually, there are no more sacrifices. All your sacrifices don't mean anything, because Christ is the one and only and final sacrifice. And I think about fig leaves, man, like, Bill Cosby. Dropping a line, dude, I don't even care, man. Whoa, look at all the good things he did, Fat Albert, The Cosby Show and stuff. Like, don't matter, bro. You can hide it. Teachers, priests, police, molesting kids, but hiding behind their jobs, the fig leaves of their jobs. Some people, dude, wear hats, Jesus hats, to make themselves look better, but they're evil. The bottom line is this, man. You either know it or you don't. And one thing that I do want to say is this. I guarantee you, because this is I talked to, I don't know, in my last 9 years of doing this ministry, I don't know how many people I've talked to, but the most common is that we are always the last to forgive ourselves. And what that means is, so we get it, we're like, okay, Jesus did that and stuff, but I'm too bad. Or I've done things that don't count, that he'll never forgive. Or I'm in a place, I'm at that point of no return. Like, that's a lie from hell. There is no point of no return. The point of no return is flat out rejecting Christ, rejecting that it's even possible that there is no God, or even knowing and saying, I don't want that. I want to do things my way or the highway. A friend of mine, he lives in Kentucky now, he said the song playing in hell is going to be Frank Sinatra's I Did It My Way. So, that is the basis of, selfishness usually traps us. It's like a big old mouse trap, right? We, if we want to take all the credit for stuff, we usually end up taking all the blame. bottom line is, like, while we own it and we're responsible for it, there's a lot of things deep in our roots that take us to places of sin and take us to these fig leaves that I'm talking about. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. I mean, I could talk probably for a couple hours about that, but do a little inventory today. You know, you got some fig leaves, you hiding some shame, hiding some guilt. What's under those fig leaves? And if you do have anything specific, you know, shoot me a message, and I would be glad to speak scripture or, into it, or at least, you know, try to point you in the right direction. And yeah, it's time to get rid of those fig leaves and start applying the blood of Christ. All right, guys, I got stuff to do. It's 4th of July weekend. This weather obviously is not cooperating with anybody here. Supposedly we got a storm coming in the middle of the week too. Could be tropical storm, could be a hurricane, could be something, but we'll see. All right, guys, lose the leaves. All right, let's take care of this stuff and stop hiding from God. All right, guys, peace. Talk to you later.